Hi, thank you for purchasing the SLP single pipe for Polaris. Today, we're going to teach you how to install it. First, remove the hood and side panels from the sled. Unplug the silencer EGT probe from the wiring harness. Retain the springs for use during the reinstallation. Set aside the stock silencer and the silencer EGT probe. It is not necessary to remove the EGT probe from the silencer, as the stock silencer and EGT probe will not be reused. Unplug the EGT probe from the wiring harness. Using a 17mm end wrench or crow's foot, remove the EGT probe from the stock pipe. Remove the stock pipe. Retain the pipe EGT probe, pipe to silencer Grafoil seal, and the springs. For the easiest removal of the Y-pipe to pipe springs, use SLP spring hook tools 20-210 and 20-322. To make the step easier, remove the lower Y-pipe springs by going in from the silencer side. Remove the upper intake panel. Start by using 2 small screwdrivers to remove the 4 darts on the intake. Next, using a ratchet and a T40 Torx bit, remove the 2 Torx bolts. Set the side panel, darts, and bolts to the side to be reinstalled later. Please note that this specific step is for short track model sleds. Remove the upper steering column and bushing from the steering column by using the 13mm end wrench and 13mm socket. Remove this bushing and set it to the side to be reinstalled later. Turn the sled's handlebars full right to create more space in the chassis for the rest of this step. Using a ratchet, 6-inch extension, U-joint swivel, and SLP 6mm ball-end Allen wrench, remove the bolts on the stock Y-pipe. Rest the stock Y-pipe in the bottom of the sled's chassis on the PTO side to keep it out of the way for the moment. Then, using the 3/8 ratchet and 13mm socket, unbolt the steering column from the frame of the chassis and shift it to the mag side of the sled, opening up the chassis to easily remove the stock Y-pipe. Remove the stock Y-pipe from the chassis. Retain the Y-pipe bolts for use during installation. For Axys models only, use a T40 Torx and 13mm end wrench and remove the recoil roller. This will not be reinstalled. Failure to remove the recoil roller will cause the recoil rope to melt. Install the provided heat tape on the inside of the belly pan from the silencer outlet forward up the back side of the belly pan shock tower. Make sure that the rubber isolator remains in the lower bulkhead silencer mounting location. Next, install the provided square of self-adhesive heat blanket on the left front side of the belly pan. Using a razor blade or gasket scraper, remove all of the remaining gasket material from the silencer to Y-pipe mating surface. Using the provided exhaust flange gasket, install the SLP Y-pipe with stock Y-pipe bolts. Begin by resting the SLP Y-pipe in the bottom of the chassis on the PTO side of the sled, then move the steering column back into place and bolt it back to the frame. Using a torque wrench and a 13mm socket, Torque this to 20 foot-pounds. Next, replace the upper steering post mount bushing and torque the bolts to 20 foot-pounds. Align the flange gasket and SLP Y-Pipe to the exhaust ports and bolt into place using a torque wrench and 6mm by 5-inch ball end Allen. Torque the Y-Pipe bolts to 22 foot-pounds. Turn the handlebars full left and right to visually check the clearance between the steering column and the SLP Y-Pipe. If there is less than a 0.030 inch clearance between the Y-Pipe and the steering column, please contact SLP before proceeding with the installation. Reinstall the upper intake panel that was removed earlier in this process, making sure that the intake panel is engaged properly into the intake tube. Secure using the T40 Torx bolts and 4 plastic darts that were removed previously. Install OEM Vibro insulator into the pipe bracket located on the bottom of the SLP single pipe. Install the provided Grafoil seal onto the Y-Pipe, making sure that the alignment notches are lined up. Apply the Permatex Ultra Black Loctite silicone to the Grafoil seal notches. Install the SLP single pipe using the stock silver colored springs removed from the stock Y-Pipe. For the easiest installation of Y-Pipe to pipe springs, we recommend using the SLP spring hook tools. To make this process easier, install the lower Y-Pipe springs by going in from the silencer side of the sled. Install the EGT probe in the pipe with the provided anti-seize on the threads and torque to 22 foot-pounds with the 17mm crow's foot and torque wrench. Please note that adding anti-seize to the probe threads will make removing the probe easier in the future. Plug the provided signal modifier into the stock wiring harness. Plug the stock pipe EGT probe into the signal modifier, and using the provided cable tie, secure the signal modifier to the wiring harness. Install the stock pipe to silencer Grafoil seal onto the end of the pipe. Plug the supplied EGT probe eliminator plug into the stock silencer EGT probe connector in the wiring harness and secure it in place using the supplied cable tie. Find the wiring harness located to the inside of the pull rope pulley. Cut the lower cable tie holding the wires together. There are 3 plugs fastened to the vertical wire support. 2 on the outside, 1 with blue ends and 1 with a white end, and a gray plug to the inside. Remove the push-start style fastener holding the plugs to the vertical support. Move the gray plug to the pull rope pulley side of the vertical wire support. It will need to be unplugged to move it, then plug it back in. Push the 3 plugs towards the fuel tank so that all of the wiring is inside the outer edge of the vertical wire support. Using a provided cable tie, secure the wires in place through the lower hole in the vertical wire support. Finally, check for proper wire clearance between the silencer and the wires. Install the provided spring tab using the open threaded hole in the side of the bulkhead and the provided bolt with a dab of blue thread lock. Make sure that the spring tab is in the 1 o'clock position. Install the SLP silicone outlet ring onto the silencer with the rounded edge down. And install the silencer into the sled, making sure that the stock rubber isolator is in place under the silencer bracket. Spring the pipe to the silencer using stock gold-colored springs. Spring the silencer to the upper bulkhead tube using the provided spring strap and gold-colored spring. Spring the rear of the silencer to the spring tab installed in the previous step. For the lightweight style silencer, first remove the front upper bolt on the bulkhead. Slide the supplied spring tab onto the bolt and reinstall with the spring tab pointing at the 11 o'clock position. Install the SLP silicone outlet ring onto the silencer outlet with the rounded edge down, and install the silencer into the sled, making sure that the stock rubber isolator is in place under the silencer bracket. Spring the pipe to the silencer using stock gold color springs. Spring the front side of the silencer to the spring hook installed on the bulkhead in an earlier step with the stock gold-colored spring. Spring the rear of the silencer to the bulkhead brace using the stock longer gold-colored spring. After the silencer is installed, check above and under the sled to make sure that the SLP outlet seal and stock rubber seal are properly placed. Apply a high-temperature silicone sealer such as Permatex, Ultra Black, or Loctite silicone to glue the silicone outlet ring to the silencer. Finally, connect the SLP pipe to the chassis support using a short gold spring. After the silencer is installed, check above and under the sled to make sure that the SLP outlet seal and stock rubber seal are properly placed. Then, apply a high-temperature silicone sealer such as Permatex, Ultra Black, or Loctite silicone to glue the silicone outlet ring to the silencer. Check the clearance between the side panel and exhaust silencer. Due to chassis variation, some sleds will need the foam removed from the top inside right-hand side panel and will need to install the provided heat tape, while others will not. For Axys models, check the pipe clearance between the pipe and the hood where the lower right-hand hood vent standoff is located. Trim the standoff if necessary. Reapply the small stock heat barrier mat to the standoff. And if needed, a small dab of Permatex Ultra Black silicone can be used to adhere the stock heat barrier mat to the hood vent standoff. Reinstall the hood and side panels and plug in the headlight wiring harness. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to call us at 208-529-0244 or find us online 24/7 at startinglineproducts.com.